Well, it's time for a riveting radio real estate with Don Pannell from John L. Scott. Normally these are Fridays, but we had the inauguration of Donald J. Trump, so we are moving this to right now, a Monday morning. And let's say good morning to you, Don.
Good morning, Jeff.
How are you doing?
I am fine. I have, speaking of inaugurations, since that was last week, I have a fun little fact that I heard that I thought I would share with listeners.
Yeah.
According to Zillow, they have determined that the value of the White House in Washington, D.C. is $397 million.
$397 million.
Yes, and it probably has a whole bunch of bedrooms and a whole bunch of bathrooms. I wasn't able to find out that information, but I'm sure it does. And then they also said that since the average person probably wouldn't be buying it, and because it will probably never be on the market, they did also determine, and I'm not sure what they based this on, but that the monthly rental for it would be $2 million.
Oh my gosh!
So $2 million a month you can rent
for
the right
low price.
The low price, and you probably have to meet some other criteria before you can live there. So that's my fun little fact for
not
today.
Only credit checks, but
background checks. Lots of background checks.
Very interesting.
Yes,
well, I'm looking up here a listing that you provided here. We're taking a look at a cute little house.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. It was built. This actually is kind of different for me. This is not one of my listings.
Okay.
But I would be more than happy to show this to somebody. Remember, we talked a little bit about making sure you have your own agent as a buyer, and that you don't necessarily look at the name on the sign in front of the house because that's the person that's representing the seller.
Okay.
And so the buyers should really have their own agent, and I would be delighted to be that agent for this place because I just think it's very cool. It was built in 1911, so it's one of the older houses in Shelton, but it's been completely remodeled.
Well, you sure couldn't tell 1911 by these pictures.
Right, other than the fact that you probably have straight, clear lumber and great big beams and really great construction. But yeah, and the person who did this, who did the remodeling, kind of prides himself on taking these old houses. I've seen a couple of them that he's done, and he really puts all of the modern conveniences in there, but remains true to the character of the house.
Oh my gosh, the fireplace room with those beams.
I know. And the clawfoot bathtub, that's my favorite.
You've got to check the pictures out when you see the video here for this interview. But again, Dawn has a listing number as well that you can find from her website. So tell me a little bit more about this place.
Well, it's located up on Ingleside, up on 7th Street.
7th?
It's on 4 lots, so big property, and there are also 4 other lots that could be available as part of the package. The same person owns all 8 lots.
Wow.
So, and they're in the process of building a big 28 by 24 garage on it, so a 2-car garage. It would have to be detached because these old houses they didn't put places to put garages on, but they are in the process of building that. So it's listed right now at $324,997.
Okay.
So it's at 2,800 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 1/4 baths. So it's a big place. It's got the master bedroom is on the main floor, which is a nice thing now. A lot of people are looking for that. And then it's got 3 bedrooms upstairs. 2 full baths, and then a 3/4 bath and a half bath, and there's a fireplace, and it's all connected to city services. So city sewer, city water. It's phenomenal. And again, this guy takes these old houses and basically takes them down to the studs and rebuilds them, but remaining true to the character.
Sure.
So it looks like a 1911 house, but you've got all of the modern conveniences, really great hardwood floors, and just a beautiful spot. And I would really be, again, happy to show it to somebody. So just give me a call and I'll take you up there and run you through it. It's also natural gas, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's but it's also got forced air heating and a tankless water heater as well. So all of those modern
conveniences. Many of the modern amenities.
A lot of and stainless steel appliances.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's got this really cool little breakfast nook off the kitchen, which a lot of those older houses did, and so they kept that, and you could just see sitting out there with a cup of coffee, and
it'd be great.
Yeah.
So the person who took this house, they bought it at one point in time, and then you mentioned took it down to the studs and rebuilt it. We're seeing a lot of this. There's shows on TV all the time. I can't change the channel without coming across some flipper show.
Yeah, and I love those. I love those shows.
Yeah.
I've even gotten my husband watching Fixer Upper. He loves that. So, but there's Flipper Flop, Flipping Vegas, all kinds of them. Yeah, so I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about that today.
Okay.
That's kind of why I chose that house, because you do see a lot of that going on. So some things to look for if you're the buyer of a flipped house. So first of all, a flipped house, for people who don't know, is a house that investors buy, preferably in its original condition, so they can get it at a good price, and then they do improvements to it, hopefully at a good enough value for the improvements, so that then they can turn around and sell it and make a profit.
Okay.
So the first thing that you need to watch out for is that you have to look beyond, a lot of times, the shiny finishes, because you're going to see a lot of new appliances, new backsplash, new countertops, those kinds of things. So and it's a turnkey house. So you have to be a little cautious to look beyond all of those shiny surfaces, because sometimes they can distract you from what's going on behind the walls.
Okay.
So the price it should be comparable to other sales in the neighborhood. Okay. So even though everything is new and sparkly, you need to do your due diligence and looking at that you're not overpaying for those kinds of things. So again, some things to do: hire your own agent. We talked about that a little before. Mm-hmm. So your agent will be able to find out who did the work on that house, so that you can make sure that it's somebody, like in this case, somebody who has a good reputation, somebody who's reputable, somebody who's not going to try and cut corners and just slap a coat of paint over some defective, something in the walls. You're gonna know that if this person has done the work, and there are several out there who, even in Mason County, who do great work. I mean, I've seen several that are just fine. They don't try and fool you. Yeah. So but you do have to watch out for that. So if you have your own agent, your agent is going to help you do your due diligence, find out about that. So, and always get a home inspection, especially for something like this, because the home inspector is going to be able to look underneath and behind and on top of, whereas you might not know exactly what you're looking for. A home inspector would. I always recommend anyway for any buyer to get a home inspection, but in this case, if you know that it's a flipped house, it's doubly important to get that.
When you're looking at comparable pricings, would you also look at comparable years that the house was built? So like for this house, it was 1911. Mm-hmm. If you are looking in the general neighborhood and you're seeing other houses for sale that are built in 1911, would they necessarily have maybe some of the similar problems, or would that only be like a builder by builder basis? You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You want to look at comp prices, but you also want to make sure that the houses built around that time are structurally okay. Right.
Yes and no.
Okay.
You're looking at a house that's been completely remodeled when you're looking at a flipped house. So it really doesn't compare to a house that was built the same year that has had no work done to it. So yeah, you have to be cautious. You have to know what you're looking at.
Okay.
So, and sometimes you can take a house that's been flipped that started out as total trash. If this guy that did this one up on Ingleside, I saw another one that he did. He basically had to take 8 or 9 dumpster loads out of the house before he could even start. Yeah. So looking at the house before and after, you get quite an appreciation of what these guys do. So So and then also, along with getting the home inspector, sometimes the home inspector will recommend other experts in areas. Pay attention to that.
Okay.
If they say that it might be a good idea to call in an electrician, for example, do that.
Okay.
Because they might be seeing something that leads them to believe that maybe there is an electrical problem.
Okay.
So by calling in a licensed electrician or asking the seller to do that, you've got extra protection against something, because even a home inspector can't look behind the walls. Mm-hmm. We can't put holes in the walls to look at stuff. So if they recommend that you get somebody with expertise in foundation work, pay attention to that
Okay.
and do those kinds of things.
They're not just telling you that.
Yeah,
just to
yeah,
tell you that.
they're seeing something that indicates that might be a good idea.
Okay.
So pay attention to that. It might be an extra expense for the buyer, but well worth it in the end if you are able to avoid some pretty major heartaches from
I bet.
having your house fall down around
Yeah.
you. Yes. And then also carefully, as much as you are able or your agent is able, inspect for the quality of the workmanship. And this has to do with making sure that there were permits pulled for the work. You can kind of take a look sometimes, and like if the miter corners aren't square, or if there are rough edges on things, that's a little bit of an indication sometimes that maybe the workmanship isn't all that you might hope it would be.
Yeah.
Again, I've seen very few cases around Mason County where that's the case, but in bigger markets where they're doing this more and more, you would tend to see that.
Wow.
So the main thing to keep in mind is that number one, you can get a really good deal, but number two, you need to be very cautious about what you're looking at and look beyond the shiny new surfaces and make sure that you're getting a good quality house.
Maybe another time we come back and talk about next time if like I decide to be a flipper, and what we have to look for there, because I'm sure there's certain things that the flippers themselves kind of key in on.
Yeah, I can get some information on that. That'll be fun.
I want to get into
That'd be fun to talk to. Yeah,
it would be kind of fun to figure that out.
A lot of people are starting to do it, and you can again get some pretty good deals out there. There are a lot of foreclosed houses that have been sitting on the market for quite a while, and if you know what you're looking at, you can pick up something relatively cheaply, put a little bit of money into it, and then turn around. I
mean, it just seems so fantastic on these shows.
Yeah, I know. I know.
You got to have a great realtor to get you the rock bottom price.
Yeah.
And Don Pannell's that realtor to do
That's
that.
right.
How do we get in touch with you?
You can call me at 490-4493 or come and talk to me at the office on the corner of 3rd and Railroad at the John L. Scott office. And again, I keep telling people that if I'm not in the office, because sometimes I'm not, I'm out and about, but they will always know where I am and they'll be able to track me down. So would love to set up a time to meet with you, and we can go out and take a look at a flipped house or any other kind of house. I would love to represent you as your realtor.
Very nice. Don Pannell from John L. Scott for some riveting radio real estate here this morning. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Do you know you have access to the fastest internet in Washington State? Switch to iFiber Communications right now and take advantage of our special offers. Pay only $29.95 for 100 megabit high-speed internet, or get 3 months of internet absolutely free. That's right, $29.95 for 100 megabit speeds or 3 months of internet free. Shop, stream, and game like never before with iFiber Communications high-speed internet. Call 360-427-4000 or check us online at ifiber.tv. Subject to credit approval, valid on a 24-month contract.